Oh, love. Oh, I can, but you just did conk out a little bit. Have you got
Oh,
you take your Wi-Fi off? Can you go on your 4G? Does that help? Or let's
no.
just wing it and see how we
Yeah,
get on because
yeah.
you're
Can you?
looking like you're not dropping out now.
No. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can.
Grand. Okay.
Which is good because I was about to do my tap dance, which is like my filler thing that I do
Oh, I'm
when
sorry.
and we were going so well, and I was saying, "Yay, she's a
I know.
complete virgin and she's on," and then
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, of course. It was always gonna something like that was always gonna happen. Anyway, sorry to
Thought it
keep
was.
everyone waiting, and thank you for
Yeah.
me.
No, thank you for coming on. And I was just sort of introing you the fact that how we came together was that you actually found your breast cancer through seeing one of the change and check stickers, wherever they are,
Yes.
through one of these, which was, am I right in thinking it was at your gym?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
actually, I didn't see the sticker. What I did see was you. So
Ah,
I was in the gym and I was training. At the time, I was working with a PT, and I noticed just a very slight change in my boob. And the rain show was on in the gym, and you were chatting away to Lorraine, and I was just really mesmerized by your story. And so saw the change in my boob, went home, and said to my husband later on, "Can you see anything here?" And he said, "No." And you just didn't leave my mind. And I just thought, I'm going to have to go and get this checked out. Because I was just really inspired by your story, and yeah, and the campaign and everything like that. So yeah, I went and got diagnosed, and I think 2 weeks later I was under the knife.
wow. So what was the change that you noticed?
So the most minute little puckering in the side of my breast. That was it.
Wow.
There was
So like a little dimple.
exactly just a tiny little dimple that you could only see in certain lights. It was so minute. I could not believe it. I was absolutely floored. I was
And do you have family history of it or?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Wow.
So yeah, it just came out of the blue. What age am I now? I'm 43. So I was 41 when I was diagnosed. I had it in my head, this can't be happening because
Mm,
this doesn't happen to people when they're 41.
mm,
But unfortunately it does. So
mm.
I'm so confident that I was not going to have cancer that it was my husband's birthday the day I went in to have my to the hospital, into Kingston Hospital. And
Mm.
I said, yeah, bring Bo along, my little girl, and we'll head off to Legoland after this. It'll be fine. I'll be in and out within an hour. And yeah, 5 hours later, you know the drill.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I had a really similar experience just thinking that I went with my sister and I was like, oh, we'll just go and do this and then we'll go and have
yeah.
lunch. And yeah, it was,
Mm.
oh, I now need to have this test done and then back to the waiting room. I now need to have this test done,
Yeah.
and it just went on and on and on.
Yeah, completely. And then, yeah, a couple of weeks later, when everything had been established that what my tumor was like and everything, I went under the knife, and I had,
Was that a lumpectomy or a mastectomy?
yeah, that was a lumpectomy. And yeah, as the story goes, I was literally, sitting about 3 hours away from my surgery, and because of my age, they did a standard kind of pregnancy test, and I had never conceived naturally, and I'm absolutely fine because that's part of my, as a resilience and recovery coach and as a coach, that's part of what's inspired me to do this job. But I had never conceived naturally, and my little girl is IVF, and they confirmed that I was pregnant. I
What,
had,
so before you had your surgery, they did a routine pregnancy test and they told you were pregnant?
yeah, yeah, absolutely no idea, and completely floored me. I mean, it was bizarre.
Wow.
So yeah, and then we just had to have all these conversations with the surgeon and with the anaesthetist and the team, where they had to weigh up the risk to the baby. So by the time surgery came along, like I was totally shocked still, and so was Ben. But like we had got to the point of going, gosh, maybe this is a little chink of light in this horrific
Right. Yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
But sadly, 4 days later, it wasn't to be, and we
Four
lost it.
days later from the surgery.
Yeah,
So was that a really hot, did you know going into that 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 was a really strong possibility that that
yeah,
could happen? Is that because of the trauma of surgery that a teeny like fetus doesn't necessarily survive that kind of
yeah. It's something around the anesthetic. Um,
right?
it was
But you're stuck between, like, what choice do you have? Because you've got a life-threatening illness.
yeah.
Somebody's just said on here actually, D. Doyle saying that they were diagnosed during pregnancy as well. So you're given this life-threatening diagnosis, but then also told
The,
you're pregnant. It's, I mean, it's what a massive crossroads, and I
it's
can't even imagine.
the juxtapose is just crazy. Like it was a complete and utter like what's going on. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's what happened. And I then, my little girl started school, and I started my, the
chemo.
LPA, my new normal. Yeah, which was
Yeah,
months of chemotherapy followed by radiotherapy. And thankfully, I'm doing good. Uh,
yeah.
Very
So
grateful.
when did you finish treatment then?
I finished my chemo in December 2019,
19. Yeah.
and finished radio by the end of, I think it was, well, beginning of February, mid
Mm.
2020. So I got all the strength in me to face the world again, which was just really tough. I know you've been there, Helen, where you have to face
Yeah.
again. You don't recognize yourself. You've lost some hair. You're like, well, I lost all my hair. And I was like, I have to get back into the working world. But I also
Yeah.
knew where my kind of resilience comes in, and the resilience in coaching comes in, where I just knew, even though it was like, might be good for you to go back to work, I was able to say to people who were saying that to me, if I'm not able, I'm not ready, I know
Mm.
I need more time.
Mm.
Now looking back on it, that was me being resilient rather than being in any way weak.
Week or
it,
yeah.
it was,
Because when I put this post out yesterday and I was
yeah,
asking people, what did you find tough on the journey? And so many people did say about the emailed me and said about the going back to work and um, how it just, you can't just switch off from what just happened.
no,
And it's a bit like everybody around you, with all the goodwill in the world, just think that you can just go back to the normal. But what is the normal? And
yeah,
it's sort of a really, really weird time. And I think it really took me a good 18 months to sort of really just sort of come to terms with the fact that I can't go back to that old normal. It's got to be whatever it is on my terms. I actually
yeah,
went back to work part time, and I remember going to my boss and having that conversation, and I was so scared because I know that the Helen before would never have asked for part time, because I would not want to be seen as not, striving for the top and getting the
there,
next promotion
yeah,
and da da. And actually, when those words came out that I just want to do 3 days a week, oh, I felt liberated, and I felt,
mm,
and I was very lucky that I was super supported, and I've been supported right the way through. Whereas I think you had a bit of a different journey with your work wise, didn't you?
I did. I went back to work, wearing a wig, feeling like absolutely terrified, did not know it, what was going to hit me when I went in. I had been in a new job for 3 weeks when I got diagnosed with cancer. So it was a really complicated situation for both them and me. Uh,
Mm.
but they were very, very kind, and they supported me financially for much of the journey. And not only that, and even more
That's
important,
amazing.
yeah, it's amazing. And they'd known me for 3 weeks. Like, it's insanely amazing. But even better than that, they provided me with a life coach. who is a friend and just a mentor and a beautiful person in my life now. And she coached me from as soon as I was able to, and allowed me to kind of move forward. But yeah, I went back after all of the treatment in the wig, terrified. Week into there, COVID hit.
Wow, God.
So I commuted for 1 week and we were sent home and I was furloughed. I worked from home for a bit, really finding my way in the dark, absolutely, you know, and I don't mind saying it now, but just like really upset, just didn't understand anything that people were saying. My cognition had been affected. I couldn't concentrate on a lot of the things that were being thrown at me, even though they were being really kind and kind of giving me space. But so then they furloughed me, and they continued to furlough me, and then I lost my job. So they made me redundant in the August. So whilst I understand now the reasons that they did, and for a while I say I lost my job. Actually, I didn't. I gained a whole new life, but it was a huge blow at the time, because once again we were faced with financially, what does this mean for us? Like, you're a salary family. I'm a stepmom as well as a mum. We need both salaries, like, and having to figure that out whilst being unwell, navigate the tamoxi bollocks. Navigating, and just going, no, you're actually kidding me. Now I have to kind of figure this out. But actually, what I did was I immediately signed up for, I was very inspired by my own coach, and I signed up for a diploma in transformational coaching, and just threw my heart and soul into that, because I knew that I needed to do something along these lines in order to use all of these difficult experiences to work with others. And resilience isn't just about cancer. It's about bereavement. It's about going for the next job opportunity. It's career development. It's marriage breakdown. It's COVID panic. It's
parenting. So what exactly is? So are you like a counsellor? Is that
no?
And what's the difference?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's often mixed up. So I just to give you a really succinct answer, counselling is looking back, coaching moving forward. So if you were to go to a counsellor, you would dig into some stuff that might have triggered you to get to the point that you're at. With coaching, it's very much, it's client-led. So as coaches, we believe that we have all that clients have all the answers. So whoever we're coaching has the answers within themselves. They just know, because of the clusterfuck of shit going on, and they just know how to access those answers. Sorry, you told me not to. Yeah, anyway. Sorry.
I was joking. You can say fuck or bugger. You're totally fine.
That really made me laugh earlier on. She sent me a voice note saying, yeah, it'll be fine. Just don't say fuck or bugger. Anyway.
Bless you.
So, yeah, where was I after I came
Do you know what? I'm so glad that you lose your train of thought, because I've completely lost my train of thought as well. Yeah. So you've retrained. You've decided to become a resilience and recovery coach, which is all about helping people to not look back on the shite that they've just come from that's causing the problem. It's about channeling your energy forwards, and giving it like a positive spin. Well, probably helping give people their confidence back, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So I say resilience and recovery coach, but I'm a coach. You know, resilience and recovery comes from myself, my own life journey. That's a passion of mine. But coaching, the skills of coaching is absolutely that. It can touch on anything. But you said there, it's not necessarily about looking back. It isn't really about looking back, but sometimes it's about staying still.
Okay.
And sitting in a moment. So there isn't always a solution. So when I'm working with a client, it's not always, right, we're going to go through a session, and by the end of this, you're going to have X, Y, and Z to do, and then you're going to be fixed and you'll be fine. Or after 6, not about that, because as human beings, we're complex. You know, a difficult relationship or bereavement or grief or anything that I'm dealing with somebody, it doesn't always involve being fixed. It sometimes involves just holding the space for somebody to just
Yeah.
be.
And it's actually a sort of giving permission to that person
Yeah.
to just be.
Yeah.
That it is all right to feel like that. Let's so when we put this post out yesterday, because I do want to say as well, Sinead, that I want to let everybody know that actually you're going to come on board and help, support on the C list in terms
Yeah.
of being a coach. So there's going to be sort of an area for you on the website there to help
Yeah.
support other people. But some of the things that people are saying are, and in fact, a couple of people said this, losing their hair
Mm,
just broke them.
yeah.
And that's really difficult, isn't it? Because you can't stop it happening. There's nothing you can do to stop that happening. But how do you, on those days where you're just,
Mm,
you're just consumed by how crap you feel and look, and
yeah.
it's like a bereavement, losing
Mm,
your hair, because it's almost like you're losing your identity. I mean, we
mm.
both went through it. We actually shared the same wig, didn't we? I gave you my
Yeah.
wig once I was done with it.
Yeah.
We're like wig sisters.
Yeah.
Would advice for that be, would you say?
Gosh,
Or is it different for everybody
it
in
is
terms of
so
their...
yeah, it's so different for everyone, because if you think about it, the emotions that come up through hair loss, okay, you've got, like you said, you've got loss of identity. It's feeling out of control. It
Mm,
confidence goes bang onto the floor if you're
mm,
used to having hair. It's a constant reminder of what's happening. And
mm,
so it's, to the outside world, it's the telltale, isn't it?
yeah,
You see someone in a headscarf, or
yeah,
you see someone in a wig, and or a bald head, and it's like that person is going through this. And health is a very personal thing.
mm,
And so the amount of emotions, it's not just hair falling out of your head and, oh
mm,
yeah, grow back, come on, get over it and get back on your feet. It's not that. The emotions that go with it
mm,
are huge. So, what I would say is, through coaching, and I definitely had some coaching sessions around this, and around confidence and the way I looked and things like that, because you can draw on all the eyebrows and stick on eyelashes if you can, if you have anything there, and cover up with things, but it's what's going on underneath, um,
mm,
around this, that's really significant.
yeah,
I found that coaching in this really helped me just to break down each phase of hair loss and then
mm,
regrowth. So I
mm,
didn't too far into the future. I knew it was happening, and as it was happening, I tried to accept it as much as I could. But part of being resilient is being vulnerable, and I allowed myself to sob my heart out with my family and say,
mm,
hair, look, it's all coming out. And
mm.
I know
Because you did lose a lot, didn't you?
yeah, all of it went, yeah.
Yeah,
So I just accepted each phase and tried to deal with what's the best I can, what is the best thing I can make of this phase of hair loss right now. What
mm,
I met you one day, do you remember? And you showed me how to tie a headscarf, and that
yeah,
was a really
yeah,
key for me, because
yeah.
I have a small head, and headscarves were drowning out my head and like kind of slipping off my head. And you just showed me how to do this, this cute little way that you were doing it, and that really got me through the next few months.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the lavender fields with Bo, and I'd never tied a headscarf, and it was a really hot day, and I said, Bo, I'm gonna have to do this. And she was like 4 at the time, and she's like, come on, Mom, you can be brave, I've got you. And I have a picture here on my desk of her,
Oh, oh,
and we took a selfie, and she helped me tie the headscarf, and I did it for her.
oh,
And it was
oh.
that was how I dealt with that phase of hair loss. And then at the next phase, I dealt with it in different ways, but what I didn't do was run away from it. I just
No. And also, because somebody just pointed out on here that it is different for everybody, and absolutely it is. And actually one day you might be dealing with it a lot better, and then the next day you might wake up in a completely different frame of mind, and that's okay as well, isn't it? Somebody's just said on here, where is it? Oh, Mickey, I personally feel so vulnerable after my treatment. That's not unusual, Mickey.
Yeah.
Being back to work and have had to go back off again. And that's okay as well, isn't it? That, you know, something that was really important to me when I was going back to work was that it was really important to me that I felt in control of what my, what do you call it, when you sort of break yourself back into it again. And
Mm.
it was important to me that I felt like I was in control of that. And so I started off just doing, you know, just 1 day a week. Um, and actually just doing a little bit and a little bit, and not because I wasn't pressured by work to come back. I
Mm.
felt a lot better. I think if they were saying to me, no, you're coming in, you're going to come do 5 days a week,
Yeah.
I think I would have run for the hills.
Yeah,
So,
completely.
Mickey, I hope you're feeling supported at work, because I think that that's really important.
Yeah, and just is it Nikki? Did you say
Mickey.
Mickey? So Mickey, I would say as well that it's just be as honest and authentic as you can, and tell them they cannot refuse you if you say this is you know
Mm,
mentally and emotionally too much for me. I'm not ready, or my cognition, and I can't concentrate. You just have to keep being as open, as honest as possible. And I know it's really tough when you know you've got to earn and whatever else, but you've got to look after yourself first.
mm. It's so true. I'm
Yeah.
just, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go back to some of the other questions.
Yeah.
Cam said it was more her eyebrows over her hair. The
Yeah.
thing is, I get that, because it was on my second phase of chemo that I lost eyebrows and my lashes. And that's when you can look really patienty at that point, can't you? Because at least with your hair, you can kind of cover it up, can't you? Um,
Yeah, absolutely. All of it is really tough, and different things are tough for different people. Isn't that it? Like,
yeah, definitely. Someone else has said, my brain is ready to go back to work, but my body really isn't. So I felt the other way around. I felt like my body was, but my brain wasn't.
mm,
What?
I was the same as you. Yeah, I think, yeah, my body was, but my brain and my emotions weren't okay. I just knew that I didn't want to go back at that phase. Another thing that really helped me, actually, in terms of if we're looking at kind of resilience and things like that, it is journaling, and and video journaling as well.
Yeah.
So for any of these issues that are coming up for people, whether it's like isolation, I think somebody yesterday in the comments, my heart bled for them, said that they have been going through their treatment in lockdown, which means
Oh.
they haven't been able to meet people face to face. And oh my gosh, connection with,
And they're having treatment by themselves. I
oh,
mean, I can't imagine. And a couple
yeah,
of people did put that on the comments yesterday on our post that you know, they've been having to go through this during a pandemic. I mean, talk about kick a girl when they're down, sort of thing.
that's
Twisting the knife. It just feels so
so,
rotten.
yeah,
Yeah.
so wrong. And I think at times I did video journaling, which I haven't shown anyone. They are personal to me, but every time I either had an up day or a really really bad day, like really bad
Yeah.
day, and I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily burden my family, even though it wouldn't have been a burden
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all. But I just needed to say the words out loud, you know, anything that was in my mind. And I said it into the camera, and I spoke to myself. And I also spoke to myself on happy days and said, look back on this when you feel really rubbish in cycle 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Remember that you come out of it. Because each cycle you
Yeah.
that chemo horrendousness.
Yeah. That's a really good piece of advice, actually.
Yeah, and I just found that really, really helpful. And I
Yeah.
back at it now, it's kind of, I look back and it kind of almost with pride, where I'm like, okay, that was me, and like I got through it, like
Mm.
just almost like just a thing for me to keep and look back on from time to time.
Yeah, definitely. Lara said, I don't feel there's enough of support in general. Someone just to talk to in between waiting on results, scans, op. I totally get that. It can feel really lonely. And also, especially when you want to protect your loved ones around you, and you don't want to say to them necessarily every single day, I'm really scared. Like, I feel like it should be given to you, like a breast care nurse is given to you. I feel like you should just
Yeah,
have access to somebody just to
yeah,
talk to.
totally. I think, Helen, this is where coaching can come in really, really, really brilliant.
Mm,
I found it so powerful. I think the the hospital provided me with counselling. I don't know if you had kind of a similar situation.
I
Like,
did, but I didn't get on with it. I didn't. The person that I was given, I had to drive, oh gosh, about 14 minutes to get there. And bear in mind, you're feeling really rubbish and poorly.
yeah.
And she was early 20s, bless her, and just
Mm,
I just felt I just didn't connect with her. She was lovely, but just didn't,
yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
just, sorry, my daughter's singing in the background. Sorry if you can hear
Don't worry, that's so cute.
her.
Um,
Yeah.
I had the exact same experience. I had a really lovely lady. She was an older lady, and she was very reserved, very polite, really kind. But I felt like I couldn't be myself in front of her because she was,
Mm,
and my personality is not reserved, and I was I was traumatized, and I wanted to be able to say what I wanted to say. And actually it was and I found another kind of psychologist to work with, but it was the coaching that got me to move forward in
mm,
those times. So going back to that person who said that support between waiting for scans, possibly the worst times, aren't they, those early
mm,
days, what's happening,
yeah,
um when coaching can come in,
yeah,
really really helpful to just to ask that question. That it's a really powerful question. What do you need? What do you need?
yeah,
Are you being
yeah,
kind of yourself to stop?
yeah,
You need?
yeah, yeah. So back to you then. So how do you make yourself available? I know that you're going to be doing things with us on the C list, but a couple of people have said on here that they could really do with contacting you for sort of advice and support. How would people go about contacting you? Is it best to do it through Instagram or?
Yeah, it's absolutely fine to connect with me on Instagram, which so you everybody would have my details now. Or if you want to have a look at my website, it's PNP, so www.pnpcoaching.com. Progress,
Mhm,
not perfection, is the name of my business. So if anybody wants to check me out there. But as you said, Helen, I'm so thrilled that we're going to
mm,
be few bits of content together. And what we'd love to hear, really, isn't it, that we'd love to hear, what would you guys like to hear from me in
yeah.
terms of coping, like strategies, things like that? Is there what areas do you want to hear some advice in, or some tips as to how to get through
It
those
could
different?
be everything from dealing with your children to asking somebody for help. Like we all not been in that situation where somebody has said to you, what can I do to help? And I don't know if you're anything like me, Sinead, but I was like, I wasn't very good at delegating. I'm much better now, by the way. But I couldn't, like, my brain wasn't even there to actually to actually, feel confident enough to say, can you just go to the shop for me? I felt rude, so
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
silly stuff like that. It's relationship stuff,
Yeah, it's still,
it's all of those things, isn't
yeah,
it?
the dynamic that has to change within your home life was phenomenal. Like, phenomenal, not in a good way, as in, like,
Yeah,
I'm this person and my husband is this person, and suddenly I had to become really vulnerable and say, I can't do this, I can't do
yeah,
that, I
yeah.
need you. And that was really, I found that really hard to
Well, your
step.
dynamic completely changes because you
Yeah,
don't feel
yeah,
like half the person that you were, and you also don't feel like the person that they got married to.
yeah,
And
totally.
you find yourself apologizing for sort of
Yeah,
being a broken version of what
yeah,
what
yeah.
you'd promised to be, kind of thing. So it's all those things.
All of
But Sinead, I'm so excited to be working with you, and really, really looking forward to hearing people's comments, questions, and then we basically want to tailor,
that.
the blog posts and the video posts that we do
Yeah,
to you. And actually, as a little extra thing, you very kindly going to be helping perhaps one person every
yeah,
month with a little coaching thing. Is your way of giving back as well,
yeah,
because obviously this is your career, but you're
yeah,
also joining the C list to give a little bit
yeah,
back as well. So that
yeah.
is amazing. You've been through an incredibly tough journey, and you're just it's so nice to see, because I haven't actually seen you in person. Like, we've been talking on WhatsApp about doing this, but it's so nice to see just how well you look, and
Thanks. As do
and,
you.
and just I can sense you're just in such a better place than you
Yeah,
were,
yeah,
and it's
definitely.
just absolutely brilliant. So thank you
No,
everybody for joining us, and thank you so much, Sinead. It's been absolutely lovely to see everybody and for all your questions and everything. And everyone, do keep in touch with us on this and
yeah,
watch this space on what we've got to bring in
yeah,
terms of the C list. And sending love to anybody else out there who is going through this shite.
yeah.
And Sinead and I are absolutely there to help and support in any way that we can.
Yes, delighted to. And do we have a way of capturing some of these comments and questions?
No, don't let you do that.
Doesn't it? Does it not?
Ah, no, it's the bane of my life. No, but
Oh,
people will, these lovely people will like put stuff probably when I repost it,
yeah,
they'll put stuff on there.
brilliant.
Yeah. All
Good.
right.
Hi, thank you so
See you
much.
later, guy. All the best. Take care,
Bye.
sweetheart.
Bye
See
bye.
ya. Bye. Bye, everyone.